Madison joining us from Heber Springs, Arkansas. We're not using her last name because she is a minor. And two of the Teen Mom OGs are here as well. They are now growing up right before our very eyes. 29-year-old Maci, Bookout, and 28-year-old Catelynn Baltierra joining us from Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Port Huron, Michigan. Thank you so much for joining us. At first, I have to tell you, I was watching the piece that we just played with our audience. Take a deep breath. You are in a safe space because I know putting your life out there, your journey is not easy, even though two of you have been on for a very long time. Maci, I'm curious, and I've always wondered when I was watching this show over the years, why put yourself in the story out there? What was the motivation for you to do it?
Well, at first, honestly, my mom found the casting ad and I was like, absolutely not. After talking to the producers and really getting to know them and their goal with the show, I really felt like it was something that had I seen a show like 16 and Pregnant before I was pregnant with Bentley,
Yeah.
when I was 13, 14, 15, 16, I felt like it would have made a difference in the decisions that I made and would have helped educate me on, how to protect myself and have healthy relationships with, boys
Yeah.
and sexual relationships.
So
So I
going
just,
behind the scenes of how this happens, now, Bentley is now 11. You were 16 when you went on the show. So there was a casting, because that's the thing I found intriguing in reading all of your stories. So there was a casting call, if you will, looking for people to tell their story. Is that how you get pulled into it?
yeah, pretty much. My mom found uh, the casting call on Craigslist of all
Oh, wow.
places. That's how long ago it's been. Craigslist was still being used, so yep, it was a casting call.
Was there a financial benefit? Do they pay you to be on the show, or do they help with your expenses?
That was really the only reason why I decided to write in the first place. It said will be compensated type of thing, and so it paid for my first year of college, so that worked out.
Absolutely. Caitlin, let me bring you in because your story was one, again, that the viewers were pulled into for a different reason. You
Mhm.
decided to take the viewer through the adoption journey. You now have two children with your then boyfriend, now husband, Tyler. But at the
Mhm.
time, your story was revolutionary because you said, I'm going to put my child up for adoption. Behind the scenes, were you prepared for the reaction? And obviously, you enlighten people on the truly what happens in an adoption, especially when it's a young girl like yourself.
Yeah, I think honestly, the reaction that we got was very positive and a lot of support, which actually helped us during that process after placing Harley for adoption. And I mean, that's the only reason why we decided to do the show was to show another option and show really how adoption works today in the 21st century and what it looks like.
And for you, what it looks like is, I think you call it an open adoption, where you still have some contact with her.
Yes, yes. So we saw her not last summer, but the summer before. And so she got to spend time with both of her sisters and us, and we got to spend time with them and her parents. And we text on a regular basis. We have a thread where we send pictures to and updates to. So
And
it
to
is
your
open.
point, and to your point, a lot of people don't get a chance to see that side of it. You know,
No,
unless it's a movie or if you happen upon a documentary, but in what you expose and what you shared and showed is truly rarely seen other than on a show like this.
yeah, no, it is. This is like the only first legitimate view of what an adoption looks like. I mean, you have certain movies that show the birth mom hiding in the bushes to steal her baby back, and it's
Yeah.
like that's not real. So to really show the truth behind what an adoption looks like was honestly amazing to be able to
Wow.
do that.
You were 15, Madison, when you got pregnant, 16 when you had the baby. You're now 17. Um, you got pregnant when you say you were actually on birth control.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember ever watching the show growing up or thinking about, like, well, that won't be me, or if that is me, I'd like to handle it as well as some of them? Did it have an impact in your thinking at all over those years?
I did watch the show whenever I was younger, like with my grandma and stuff, but I never thought that I'd be, pregnant that young.
What at your research, what surprised you most about the research you did on the show?
We had data on MTV ratings, so we could see how many people were watching the show across the country in the target age group. And then we had data on all the births in the country. And what we did was statistically relate the two. And we found that in places where more people were watching MTV, when this show came on the air, the first season in 2009, 9 months later, you saw a sizable drop in teen childbearing rates.
Wow.
And that decrease was larger in places where more people were watching the show. And so we had read all the stories about this show was glamorizing teen childbearing, and people worried that it was going to increase teen childbearing rates. But what you saw very clearly in the data was the opposite, that people who watched the show took it as a cautionary tale